All right, so today we're in January, so I kind of put some thoughts together around that theme, setting up our year, setting up our month to be successful as we go forward this year. But I thought I would start with a concept called blind spots. Everybody knows what a blind spot is, right? Or in psychology, we call it a scotoma. I thought I'd share a couple things with you. How many of you recognize the name Og Mandino?
Oh yeah.
What a great speaker. I wouldn't even say he's a great speaker. He was a great thought leader at the time before we knew what thought leaders were. I mean, just amazing. He wrote The Greatest Salesman in the World book, The Greatest Gift in the World, The Strangest Secret in the World, and so forth. I was listening to a tape of his. Did I say tape? That ages me, does it not? Right? An old tape I had. So as I was listening to it, he said this. 1923, a very important meeting was held at the Edgewater Hotel in Chicago. Attending this meeting were 8 of the world's most successful financiers. Those that were present were the president of the largest steel company, the president of the largest utility company, the president of the largest gas company, the president of the New York Stock Exchange, a member of the U.S. President's Cabinet, United States President's Cabinet, the greatest bear on Wall Street, the head of the world's greatest monopoly, and the president of the Bank for International Settlements. Pretty powerful group, would you not agree, in terms of finances? Well, he goes on to say, certainly we must agree there were gathered the world's most successful men. At least there were men who found the secret in money making. Let's see how those men turned out 25 years later. You ready? The president of the largest independent steel company, Charles Schwab, died of bankruptcy and lived on borrowed money the last 5 years of his life. The president of the largest utility company, Samuel Insull, died as a fugitive from justice and died penniless in a foreign land. The president of the largest gas company, Howard Hobson, became insane. The president of the New York Stock Exchange, Richard Whitney, served time in Sing Sing. He had stolen funds from the New York Stock Exchange gratuity fund, the yacht club, and so forth. The member of the president's cabinet, Albert Fall, was pardoned and he died at home. The greatest bear on Wall Street, Jesse Livermore, fatally shot himself. The head of the greatest monopoly, Ivan Kruger, I think I'm saying his last name right, died of suicide. And the president of the Bank of International Settlements, Leon Fraser, committed suicide. And then Og Mandino went on to say, all these men had learned the art of money making, but none of them learned how to live. We'll talk about a couple things here today, but let me just say in reference to this, make sure that you're living a balanced life. When you're here, be here, work hard, do your best. When you're at home, be your best at home with your kids, your grandkids, whatever your world looks like at home. Just be the best you can be.
That's good.
All right? Balance it out. Life is too short to, this is the dichotomy of high achievement. On one hand, you talk about having balance in life. But balance does not guarantee high achievement. Focus, laser focus, will often lead to high achievement. So there's an oxymoron oftentimes. So you got to figure out what that world looks like for you. But know your values. We're not going to talk about that today. Know what's important to you. Live your values. Be a person of character. Okay? Everybody, if you agree with that, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Awesome. Let's start with this. I brought some toilet paper. Now, I need a volunteer, someone who's strong. Do I have a volunteer that will come up in front of the room here?
Will.
This isn't going to be embarrassing. Okay, let me give a little preface.
Started with toilet paper.
Okay, I started with toilet paper.
It's not going to be embarrassing, but you started with.
I know, right? How many of you know what flaxen cord is? Does that ring a bell to anybody? Okay, flaxen cord, horses. Okay, give you a little background. When you train, back in the day when you would train a horse, you would throw a kind of like a tiny thread, a flaxen cord, a little thread around the neck of that horse, and you would start to condition it by guiding it. And over time, you would put a bigger rope around it and really control it. But you'd have to start with something tiny. My point in doing this, when we talk about blind spots, is that we've all adopted habits that are probably not serving us. Today, I want you to reflect on some of those habits that maybe you have that might be holding you back from higher levels of achievement. Okay, so to just do a metaphor, I need a volunteer. All right, Ty, got it. Awesome, thank you, Ty. Give Ty a hand, please. He has no idea what we're gonna do here. So oftentimes I'll use this as just a little metaphor. Now, I want you to just put your hands together. Here, let me move you back a little bit so I can have a little space here. Here, come back here. So there's a little more room. So if I were to put that around you like a flaxen cord, I'm wondering, can you break through that? Go ahead, see if you can break through it. Okay, pretty easy, right? Yeah. Good job. You did good. All right. So, but let's say that you engage in that habit for a long time. I know it's just toilet paper, but let's pretend that day in, day out, every day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, you engage in those same thought patterns, you engage in those same habits, right? Those same conversations, those same attitudes at home. And let's just say we're talking, maybe it starts at 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 32 years. All right, let's see. Let's just keep going here a little bit. Let's make it worth it if we're going to do it. Is that okay with you guys? Oh, he's tough. I know Ty. He's tough. So he's going to break through this. You getting nervous, Ty? Yeah. That's the point. It's just toilet paper. You should be able to do it. So these are years of habits, years of doing it the same way. When's the last time you read a book, a sales book, right? The same, doing it the same way you've always done. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. It's just years and years of habit, conditioning. Wow. We're just going to do that. I don't know if this makes any difference. But I don't know. I don't know if I did enough. We'll see. We'll see how well you do trying to rip through that. Go ahead. Let's see if you can. You probably can. Come on, brother. You can do it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead and give him a hand. He can get out of that. All right. Thank you. It's just a cheesy metaphor. I get it. But I just want to emphasize one point. That if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. What habits do you have that keep you from elevating your performance?
Hello there. I thought I would just jump in here and just share with you some other insights that I shared during that training. After opening up by talking about the financiers that ended up losing everything at the end of their lives, and then talking about individual habits, in case you weren't able to visually see it, what I did is I took a commercial roll of toilet paper, and I've done this many times now, and I had a person, in this case it was Ty, and I had him cross his hands over each other, and then I wrapped it. And the flaxen cord was I just wrapped it once or twice around, so it made it easy for him to break through. However, when I wrapped his hands being crossed, I don't know, probably 40 or 50 times. We cut the audio a little bit short so you didn't have to wait. But we wrapped that probably 50 times. And then we asked him to try to rip through it. And although it was toilet paper and it was, thin and not very strong in nature, when it was wrapped 50 times, even the strongest guy, I've had 300-pound gentlemen full of muscle football players that weren't able to break through that toilet paper. So again, my purpose in doing that is that anything you do over and over and over will become a habit or an addiction. And as I learned early on in my personal development studies, I would always hear, kill the monster while it's small. Kill the monster while it's small. Don't wait until you have lost control because the habit or the addiction is too strong. All right, so then I went on with this group of people. And by the way, I was working with a group of professional salespeople. I then took them through some examples of blind spots. And I'm not going to give you all that we did, but here were just a couple things that I posed to them. You've all heard of the story of the ark and the flood. How many animals, and I want you to think about this for yourself as you're listening to this. We've all heard of the story of the ark and the flood. How many animals of each species did Moses take on the ark with him? Go ahead, jot down your answer. Now, you might have thought, well, that's an easy one, 2. Or how many of you thought it might be 2 unclean, 7 clean? All right. Well, the answer is really 0. And maybe some of you got that right too. But others, maybe you, thought 0, how could it be 0? Why? Because Moses had no ark. You heard Noah because of expectation. And so we all have blind spots that kind of have a power to sensory lockout, right? Other opportunities, even accurate information based on our imagination or based on our habits and expectations. So just be aware of that. You are operating with a lot of blind spots. So am I. And so the key in life is reducing those areas of our performance that aren't serving us and replace those habits with behaviors and patterns that will help us achieve the results that we want. Awareness defined means this: how clearly I perceive and understand everything that affects my life. It is the result of a lifetime of conditioning, and our awareness is in a continual state of flux. It goes up and down. It has some variance associated with it. But what I did with the group is I had them do a lot of writing in this particular training. A lot of times I'm just up there teaching information, sharing stories, motivating, right? But sometimes it's important to help the audience or the group take some time to reflect. And so what I had them do was go through a personal awareness inventory. And we started really basic by asking, hey, what time do you go to bed? And I want you to think about these as I take you through these questions. You can think and jot these down on your own. But what time do you go to bed at night? What time do you wake up in the morning? Do you believe that that is an adequate amount of time for sleep? And then the fourth question is, what are my typical routines in the morning between the time I wake up and the time I leave for work? I had them jot down. What are some of their patterns? What are some of their routines that they do every single morning? Then, number 5, I had them take some time and describe their typical work day. What activities do you consistently engage in? And I want you to break this up into morning time. So from the time you come in to lunchtime, how do you usually spend your morning? And is it effective. There's a line that I had in the handout that we gave them that said missed opportunities. Are there in that morning hour, and is there for you in those morning hours, are there missed opportunities that you could replace with effective action? And then I said, let's describe what your afternoon looks like. And we went through the same thing. And then I said, let's describe what your evening looks like. And are there missed opportunities that you can replace with effective action? Number 6, I had them write down their strengths and weaknesses. More specifically, their strengths and talents and their limiting habits. And then number 7, what is one limiting habit that you can change or improve? I want you to think about that. What is one habit that you can decide today and for the next 21 days that you are going to work on to replace it with something more effective? And then I have the group think about what they wanted to achieve in the next 30 days. What are your goals in the next 30 days? You know, it's easy to get kind of excited about goals a year down the road or 5 years down the road. But here's the reality. You need to be writing goals down for the next 30 days, for every week, and for every day. If you really want to be effective, you've got to write these goals down and then go after them with full commitment. And then I had them write down, what actions are you going to take today to achieve those 30-day goals? And then here was a really important step. I said, results are predictable. So what must you track in order to be effective in achieving that or those goals? It's critical that you find a way to track yourself. It's often said, inspect what you expect. So if you have a goal and you don't have steps or a mechanism to track your progress, you're likely going to be a leaf in the windstorm. You're likely going to wander instead of truly like a laser focus achieve the goal that you had committed to yourself. So make sure that you are tracking your progress, tracking your performance. Listen, you can't manage what you don't measure. So one of the things that I do with executives is I spend time going way beyond this, but we spend time really quantifying goals, really tracking them, really putting tasks down that need to be achieved by a specific time and date. And then we provide some accountability to make sure that those goals and tasks are being accomplished. Right? Our coaching program is really valuable. If you're interested in that, hey, please contact us by emailing us at info@greatnesswithin.com. 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 If you're interested in private coaching, high performance coaching, I will help you get to that next level, okay? But I'll leave it up to you to reach out to me. We don't advertise this, but I have several executives and high performers that regularly I coach, right? They're on a system with me, they get results, and they're seeing the value of it. And so I would encourage you that if you're in a place where you want to get to the next level, to give us a call. All right, or email us, right? And we will work with you to help your goals and dreams come true on a very tactical approach. And it always begins with one of my psychologists. I have you go through a big questionnaire. Well, it's not that big of a questionnaire, but it produces a 39 or so page review on your particular talents, habits, ways of thinking, your tendencies, and so forth. And we're able to coach with those patterns in mind. So the coaching that we provide is very specific to your individual needs, right? Anyway, we could talk more about that if you're interested. Please reach out to us. Okay, enough said. And then I reminded the group about the importance of demanding the best from yourself. right? And having a coach like our executive coaching, or whether it be Michael Jordan or LeBron James, or whether it be Tiger Woods or someone else, right? I'm telling you, they all have coaches. There's value in coaches. But this is one thing that I shared, talking about excellence, talking about demanding the best from yourself. I shared a little information and some backstory about Sylvester Stallone, and I'll just read what I read to them. When he was doing the movie Rambo 3, I believe he was in Afghanistan doing that movie, but it was just really interesting. He said, the workout routines were usually what we call supersets and split sets, with 15 to 20 sets of exercise targeting every part of the body. I literally lived in the gym. Then I would come home at night, and before bed, I would do 200 sit-ups, 250 push-ups, 100 chin-ups. Referring to Rambo 3, he said he would wake up at 5:30 in the morning, and sometimes it would be 95 degrees outside. He said, I ate chicken and green vegetables 7 days a week, twice a day. I'm proud to say by the end of the shoot, I nearly had grown an attractive layer of feathers. For many years, I was incredibly competitive with myself. Achievers want to succeed and succeed in a big way because they raise their game. So let's get real, or let's not play, right? Commitment to being in the top 10%. Better yet, your commitment to being in the top 3% is what it's going to take for you to achieve your goals and your dreams. Now, I say all that with a little caveat. Make sure that you balance your goals and your values and your integrity with all the energy and the focus that goes into achieving your big goals, little goals, medium-sized goals, whatever your dreams are. You've got to balance that with what is most important, because in the end, you're not going to be able to take all the temporal belongings that you've acquired in your life on with you to the next life, but you will take on those relationships. We are spiritual beings in physical bodies, and the spirit is going to live on. And so I don't mean to get religious on you, but let me just say, keep your values in check. Take care of those things that are of high value to you, despite the momentary hiccups, because we all have those hiccups from time to time. All right, enough said. You get me going, and I'll just keep going. All right, great things are happening. We got some new podcasts coming up. I've interviewed some pretty cool people, like the publisher of Forbes magazine. That'll be coming out pretty soon, not for a month or more, but it'll be coming out associated with his new book coming out, Rich Karlgaard. I've interviewed Horst Schulze, which is the co-founder of the Ritz-Carlton Hotels. That's going to be coming out here in a few weeks as well. Stay tuned. Make sure you share the podcast with your friends. Let them know this is a place they can go. They can give them insights, tools, and inspiration that can help them and yourself achieve your goals and your dreams. I hope today's message was useful to you, to remind you of the things you should be focused on to help yourself really achieve those goals that you have set for yourself. All right, I wish you the best. Now, make sure you contact us if you're interested in some private coaching. We will work with you. Actually, I will work with you one-on-one. All right? And I think we're really reasonable in terms of cost. It is a personal investment, but the cost is reasonable. So if you're interested, just email us at info@greatnesswithin.com. All right? I wish you the best. Also, make sure that you give me a thumbs up, a 5-star thumbs up on this podcast, and make sure that you make a comment. I really appreciate it. I read every one of them, and so leave a comment, and that would really be great. I appreciate it very much. All right, now go out there and unleash your greatness within.